What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Let's talk. Keys to victory. Translation: how can the Baltimore Ravens win this game? As a Baltimore Ravens fan, we all expect the Baltimore Ravens to bounce back from last week's falter. We absolutely do. I expect the Baltimore Ravens to bounce back in this game. But how can they do it? How will they do it? What are the steps, the keys that the Baltimore Ravens need to make in this game that will lead them to victory? When you think about this matchup, if I'm all the way honest, the Baltimore Ravens need to win ugly this week. And I think they need to win ugly because when another team kind of mucks up the game, when another team such as the Browns, the Steelers, the Bills, the Chiefs, those teams that give us a hard time sometimes, we don't ever really get blown out, ever. We're not losing by double digits and that kind of thing. It's always a grinded out kind of game, and it really kind of comes down to who blinks first, which team is going to make the first mistake, which offense is going to have to punt, which team can convert a first down and keep the clock moving. You know, a grinded out kind of game. And sometimes we don't win those games. And I think a part of the reason why is because we rely on Lamar Jackson to do the spectacular all the time. And when I say all the time, that's not a every down context. That's just every other drive he has to do. He has to do something spectacular in order to keep a drive going. He has to do something remarkable, spinning out of a sack, eluding a rush, breaking contain, and going for 19 yards like he did last week. Those kind of things we often need Lamar Jackson to do to keep a drive going. And I think we rely on that too much. I know that that's not a game plan type thing. That's not something you can game plan. Hey, Lamar, when it's 3rd and 3, let them almost get you in a sack. You break out of that and you run for 15 yards, get the crowd hype. You can't plan for that. You can't call that kind of play. But I think psychologically, coaching, defense, and offense all rely on Lamar to do the miraculous as it pertains to getting out of harm's way. And I think it's going to benefit us this week if this is a methodical, efficient, grinded out kind of win. I think that's what it must be this week. We have to know for ourselves that we can win that way. Have we won that way before? Yes, but not a whole lot. Over the last couple of seasons, 2023 and 2024, the Baltimore Ravens have caught momentum. And a lot of games, we just start going crazy on teams and the game gets out of hand for the other team. And so we don't have to really win a lot of close games. A lot of the times, those close games, we kind of stumble in. The 2024 playoffs and then the 2025 playoffs over the last 2 seasons, when we were in tight spots, we didn't do what we needed to do to win those games. And so I think a week 2 grinded out kind of game against a tough Cleveland Browns defense is the kind of game we need. See, we know we can do some explosive stuff. We've seen over the last 2 seasons the Derrick Henry 50-yard runs, the Derrick Henry 30-yard runs, the Lamar Jackson breaking contain and going for 20 and 30 yards. We've seen that. We've seen the deep shots to Rashad Bateman. We saw the big play to DeAndre Hopkins last week. We saw the big plays to Zay last week. But we need the kind of game this week where it's 5 yards, 2nd and 5, 3rd and 2, first down, 2nd and 8. Then it's 3rd and 3, pick up a first down. We need to be able to grind it out. We need a 12-play drive for a touchdown, a 15-play drive for a touchdown. We need those kind of long plays. We need to learn in real time how to manage a clock. Not that thing John Harbaugh was talking about last week. Oh, when we up double digits, we got no, not like that. We need to know what it's like to be up 5 points in the fourth quarter, and we can put on a 5, 7, 10-minute drive, put up some points, and give the other team minimum opportunity to go and score. You see, we felt real good last week because the offense was explosive, but it still didn't result in a victory. And we understand the defense wasn't good. But if the defense is going to struggle and they have to figure out how to find themselves again this season, then having a style of offense at times where we can just be methodical, that's going to be beneficial. So let's get into keys to victory. I think there's 6 keys to victory, and I may end up with a bonus as I'm talking. 3 offense, 3 defense. I think the first key to victory offensively is to get Mark Andrews involved. Last week, I think he had 1 catch, 5 yards. I think that was it. I'm not sure what caused Mark Andrews to disappear. Maybe the game plan wasn't to go to him. Maybe the running game got working so good that the Baltimore Ravens didn't need him. Maybe, I don't know. But I know he was not seen anymore in that game after that catch. So I think that's the first thing we need to do. I think getting Mark Andrews involved in this game will loosen up the middle of the field of that Cleveland Browns defense. Because like I said before, I think they're going to rush and patrol the trenches just with their 4. I don't think they're going to do a lot of blitzing. I think they trust their front 4, and I think they're going to spy Lamar. So having Mark Andrews cross the spy's face, having Mark Andrews run his defender into the spy, can cause some disruption, cause Mark Andrews to rub loose. But also, I think it opens up things behind Mark Andrews. And so we'll see. I think the number 2 thing, or the number 2 key this week is, let's see something from Devontae Walker. I think that not just having him out there to be able to go deep, but I think putting him out there and going deep, I think could be effective in this game. Because again, I don't think that it's going to be a lot of explosive plays because the defense just let down. I think we're going to have to earn those explosive plays if we have any. So I think being able to get Devontae Walker involved. Now, he didn't make an appearance last week from what I remember, so I think he's going to be crucial in this game. I think offensively, don't over scheme for Myles Garrett, but make sure we put him in situations to where he has to think versus just react off the ball. If he can just line up and get off the ball, he doesn't have to think, he's just tracking the quarterback, it's going to be a long day for Lamar Jackson. But I think put him in situations where he has to think, throw screens his way. Now, he's a super athlete, he is. But I think if he gets upfield and you start throwing screens behind him a couple of times, I think it may slow down the Cleveland Browns game plan. I think that when you look at what the Cincinnati Bengals were able to do last week, the tight end was a big factor. That's why I mentioned Mark Andrews, and the back out of the backfield was a big factor. And so I think that getting Derrick Henry involved in the pass game, I think getting Justice Hill on the field, and maybe even a sighting from Keaton Mitchell, but based on what John Harbaugh said last week, that may not happen. And so I think those are some factors. A bonus as I'm thinking about the offense specifically, I think that this is the type of game where DeAndre Hopkins can be a big factor. I think his ability to catch the ball, I'm not saying he gets 10 targets, not like that, but I think 4 or 5 targets, chain moving possessions, clutch catching, I think he could be a big factor in this game. I don't believe Zay is going to go crazy in this game like he did last week. I don't believe Rashad Bateman goes crazy, but we just need effective, efficient games from our wide receivers and our tight ends. When we jump to the defense side of the ball, I think number 1, we have to stop the run. Based on last week's performance, we would say, we got to stop the pass. No, I think the number 1 thing is stopping the run. Making them one-dimensional is what we need to do. Because if they can run the ball, and Joe Flacco can, get confident and go deep, we're in more trouble this week. But if we can stop the run and make Joe Flacco have to drop back every time, I think it sets us up to be able to get to Joe Flacco. Because if he doesn't have a run game to depend on, if the play action isn't working for him because we're stopping the run, then it's easier for us to tee off on the quarterback position. And so I think stop the run, 50 yards or less. That's number one. Number two key defensively is we have to collapse the pocket. We want to make Joe Flacco watch the rush versus be able to look downfield and complete passes. If his eyes is down, looking for where the rush is coming from versus up the field scanning for open wide receivers, we have an opportunity. With the exception of the interceptions he threw last week, he actually played a solid game. And so I think that's key number two. Key number three is take the opportunities that Joe Flacco gives you. He's going to give the Baltimore Ravens 2 or 3 opportunities at interceptions tomorrow. But when we get our opportunities, when we get our hands on them, we have to take those opportunities. Because we've seen in the last 3 or 4 seasons that when we don't get the interception that we had in our hands, it ends up turning into points for the other team. Kind of a bonus as it pertains to us defending the Cleveland Browns offense. We know Jerry Jeudy is the number 1 wide receiver for them, and he's already spoken this week. Njoku is a top end tight end. He may not be what you call top 5, top 7, but he is a really good tight end. He's athletic, he's big, and he has good hands. The bonus is we're going to have to figure out a way to keep him minimized, to keep him covered up, to keep him from getting open across the middle. The middle of the field, our ability to protect the middle of the field is going to be key. And so those are the keys to victory. It went from 6 to 8, but it is what it is. So let me give you predictions. I think Malachi Starks gets his first interception of his career tomorrow. I also think that Marlon Humphrey gets an interception. So I think we capitalize on those interceptions. I think the Baltimore Ravens go and get let's say 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals, 27 points. So I think it's going to be 27 to something like 20. Baltimore wins. That's what I think it's going to be. Now, it absolutely has an opportunity to be low scoring, but I think it'll be 27 to 20. I think that we will have about 225 yards passing, and I think we'll add another 180 yards rushing. Derrick Henry probably about 80 yards. Lamar Jackson probably will have 60 or 70 yards. Between the two, they'll have a touchdown. I think Lamar Jackson gets 2 through the air. I think one of them goes to Mark Andrews, and I'm going to say the other goes to DeAndre Hopkins. And I think we get out of tomorrow's game 27 to 20. So listen, you guys let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys after the game tomorrow. I'm out.